Hey guys, Mike here. So, oh boy, what a day, let me tell you. And if you're one of those true believers that believes there's no corruption in government or the stock market or anything else, you don't need to watch this video because I'm going to go on one of my rants here. And I'm telling you right now, like this thing, I know it's a mess. But good Lord, sometimes you just say, oh, I don't get it. I don't understand where the oversight's at. I don't understand it. I'm telling you, I'm gonna show you something that happened today and understand, hey, CPI comes out, boom, looking great, right? And I'm going to tell you before I get in this little story up exactly what happened, right, is understand I'm sitting there with my cell phone in one hand, the computer in my lap. I got the government website pulled up where it's supposed to go to at 8:30, boom, pops up. Got my Twitter going right here because, you know, Twitter's all over and people can get it fast. They got these automatic feeds that go in there. And I'm looking, 8:29 hits, and I'm also on top of that listening to something live on this, right? They're covering it, okay? And all of a sudden, I hear the guy start screaming, 8:29, and he says, am I on the wrong time? What the heck is going on? And I look down, and I go to TradeView, where I usually look at my stuff, and the market's up 4%. The Qs have gone up 4% at 8:29. Again, I'm on the government website refreshing, nothing there. Twitter refreshing, nothing there. Nothing's out there. And all of a sudden, it's up 4%. How did that happen? I don't understand it. But then what happens, and this is where I get upset. Now remember me, this is the one thing about me. I don't like inequality. I don't like unfairness. I like a level playing field. I get that it'll never be that way. I understand that before you start hitting me up in the comments. But I don't mean it can't upset me, right? Because people get screwed when this happens, all right? Understand, I played a straddle. I didn't care which way it went, right? And so that worked out okay. I just do one contract on each. I don't get big into it. And it paid out fine because it was a big move either way. But I also understand that this, what I'm going to show you, is the epitome of ridiculousness and just sums up what our government's about, what the stock market's about. I mean, there's no way you can call this a free market. There's no way you can call it that. I'm telling you right now. The only thing that's free is you can definitely buy or sell. That's your definition of free. But as far as the manipulation, it is just getting worse every year. It's off the freaking charts. So here's what happened. I'll take you through this. I'll try to keep my rant down. So, ends up, CPI comes out. Hallelujah, here we are. 7.1%. Boom. Below expectations of 7.3. Wonderful, right? That's headline right there. Right? Month over month, 0.1%. Below 0.3. This is looking good, right? Core, 6%. Was expecting 6.1. Boom. Month over month, 0.2. Below 0.3. Here's the futures right here. Right? And this is actually after they sold off some. NASDAQ, 3.86%. You're like, okay, this is interesting, okay? Let's see what happens here. So the market gaps way up. Bam. Right? Now, mind you, it was 4% in pre-market. And all of a sudden, it sells down really fast. Well, it pops back up, hits support, and all of a sudden, it starts rolling over. And you're like, wait a minute, what's happening here? And it hits support level again. It bounces, starts trading sideways. Well, this is looking kind of weird. So in the Discord, we're going back and forth, right? I'm in there all morning. We're going back and forth. And all of a sudden, this comes across my desk, and I put it in the Discord. And this covers what is called a 501 million dark pool print. If you don't know what dark pools are, I'll link a video I did last year to it so you understand how this goes. And I'll kind of give you a little blurb here real quick. But understand, it's on the SPY, quantity 1.3 million. Look at the price, $398.93, okay? And so what happens? We go back to the chart, you know, there's no way, right? I mean, and here's the funny thing. I put this trend line at the bottom down. That's what that trend line at the bottom, all the way at the bottom, support line is. So I thought, there's no way we're going there, right? There's no way we're going there. And look what happened. Look at what happened. It's like the Grinch. I mean, somebody put this in the Discord, so I got to show it. And it was only 14 cents from that dark pool print is where it come down to. Off of CPI that kick button took names, right? Even though it's still really high, don't even get me started on that. It's still really freaking high and sticky. But the market, I was like, wait a minute, is the market ever rolled over like this on a CPI a date where, you know, this was happening where we beat it, but not like 0.1, but like 0.2 and all this other stuff, and rocketed up that much in pre-market and came all the way back down to basically close the gap, right? But it didn't stop there. As you can see, even more dark prints came through at this price level. Now we're up to 2.3 million. And I'm going to try to zoom in here so you can actually see this. But roughly 87% of prints, dark pool prints, came at that price, $398.93. Another 7% came at $398.90. So that makes around 90% right there, or yeah, 90% came at that price right there. And then we hit it, boom, immediately we bounce. Go, we're gonna run it back up now, right? Gonna run it back up. Already took people's money, and then all of a sudden it starts running down again, right? And then oh, no, we're gonna run it back up. Look at the volume. I love the volume in like the last 15 minutes of trading. It just always makes me laugh. And at the end of the day, you're sitting there with $3.3 billion worth of dot pro prints at that same price of $398.93. And if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. Really appreciate it. And if you're getting anything out of this, please hit the like and think about sharing the video, guys. And what was the SPY's daily range? The low was $399.07, which is where it hit right there and bounced. That's 14 cents from those dark pool prints. So look, you can believe in coincidences all you want. I don't. Give me a break. Let me know what you think down in the comments for sure. And then if you look, what did it do? Once again, all it did, as you can see right here, that's the 200. And all this thing did was just trade us back down below the 200 and right up against it once again. And you just sat there and hugged it. I mean, you can see right there, all it did was hug that 200 going into the FOMC meeting tomorrow, which at least 80%, especially with this CPI report that came out, believe it's going to be 50 basis points, right? I mean, that should be bait into the cake, you would think, at this point in time, especially after beating CPI. And so, you know, I'm going to understand why I get upset about it is this kind of stuff, because a lot of people get screwed with this stuff, but understand that this is like, and understand like Citadel, for example, they're like one of the biggest out there that control a dark pool, but they also they have a trading platform on top of they pay for order flow. So it's like trying to play poker with somebody, but they get to hold their cards up where you can't see them, but they deal your cards out open, right? So they're literally looking at your hand, but you can't see their hand. There's no way to lose when it comes to that. I mean, and where the oversight is, I don't know. I have no idea. It's supposed to be oversight because, you know, really quick, dark pools were created in the late 70s, early 80s for big block orders to go through so it wouldn't affect the market from these institutions, right? That was the whole point in it. Well, obviously, years later, they could have never foreseen what the corruption would be taking place behind closed doors, that financial institutions legally own politicians, that politicians are trading right and left all day long, that these people who control the dark pools also had trading platforms, paying for order flows so they can see what we're going to buy before we ever buy it, right? And understand they had these computers. This happens, it's faster than you can blink your eye. That's how fast this stuff happens. Like today, 829. I mean, it was within 1 second. As soon as it hit, 829 hit, it went boom, 4% up. It's like, what? What just happened? All these orders just flowed in milliseconds, and the report wasn't even out today. Again, all we ask for is a level playing field of some sort. You know, I don't know where the SEC is at. They're worried about coming after retail investors on, you know, GameStop and these other ones. Give me a break. Are you kidding me? You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. And then, of course, you know, you get in, boom, what happens? It sells back off. So it's just crazy. I mean, I just, that kind of stuff frustrates me. But, you know, let me know what you think down in the comments. I could be crazy. But here's the good news. You can look at CPI and you go, huh, I mean, that's a good print, right? I mean, it's sitting there. It goes down month over month. The lowest has been since July. So, again, we are heading in the right direction. And when we scroll down here on the list, you look to the right, there's a lot of negatives, right? You still got some positives that are up and stuff like fruits and vegetables, meats, poultry still up. So groceries are still high, still sticky, right? But you go over to energy, a lot of negative numbers, right? Vehicles, I'll show you some of that. That just fell off a cliff. You know, medical expenses, we don't know what this was going to be, but it ended up basically flattening out to zero. And then you look over here, and obviously motor repairs, I can go ahead and tell you right now, cost a lot of money as I had mine done. But airfare somehow -3. It was like, whoa, okay, cool. They just read a report yesterday they weren't coming down. But then you look at rents. And what I'm talking about with the rents is this was how much they were increasing month over month. Well, look at that small little deal. So they're still increasing, but nowhere near at what they were. I mean, they've fallen off a cliff as far as the increases, right? And look at used cars. That bubble's burst. I mean, look at that right there. It was like a meme stock chart. And so this whole deal about buying a used car and reselling it a year later, which I had a neighbor do. He did it 3 times, right? He didn't have a car payment for like 2 years because he kept doing that. Well, that's, I think, over with, right? At least in this area and other areas. You can see by the chart right there. So, you know, inflation is coming down. I do laugh every time we celebrate a 7 handle on it, right? I mean, 7.1 is extremely high. 6 on core, which is the sticky part, is extremely high. Food still, for whatever reason, keeps increasing. I don't know why a dozen eggs are still $4 when they used to be like $1.90. You know, I guess a lot of chickens got chicken flu or bird flu, where it was or something. But, you know, it's still sticking. That's, I mean, that's crazy that we celebrate how high this is. But, you know, when you're desperate, you got to celebrate something, right? And remember, the market, forward thinking, the market doesn't care whether you lose your job. It doesn't care what the headline number is. It don't care about any of that stuff. What it cares about, what it's trying to do is look forward and say, well, we're making the right progress, right? And that's why, you know, think about it. They keep saying, oh, interest rates are going to be lower now because they're going to 50 basis points. Like all they can do is hike 75 basis points every freaking meeting. Really? That's not, and the fact they've done 4 in a row don't shock people. Like, my Lord, there's only been 12 in the history, I believe, right, of the country, of the stock market. And here we are with 4 in a row, 75 basis point hikes. And they go to 50 and the market's celebrating, right? Even though the Fed keeps telling them the end rate is going to be higher, the terminal rate, like 5% or higher, right? Which we're not there yet. But if they do 50 and then even do a couple 25s, I think it puts us at around 5, which we haven't been since 2007, right? And so it amazes me, you know, what people are celebrating. And, you know, who knows? I tell people right now, it's like I said in yesterday's video, the market, nothing, I guess, surprised me. That crap that happened this morning didn't surprise me, it just upset me. But nothing surprises me if this market decides it's just done with this bear market and wants to continue to try to go higher or push people into it. And it's not going to surprise me if the Fed does 50, comes out and tries to talk hawkish, because I know people say you don't want to do that. But understand, if the Fed, who has control of this market right now, if they lose control, and I just listened to an ex-Fed president talk about this today during an interview, and he said if it starts to run and get away from the Fed, you got to understand they're trying to tighten monetary policy, right? There's actually a chart, I'll show it to you sometime, and it shows when it goes down, it goes up, the stock market comes down because things are tightening, okay? When it comes down, which is what it's been doing ever since the market's been running up, the market keeps going because it's loosening what they've already done. They don't want that to happen, okay? They don't want that to happen. You don't want that to happen. I know you may want it in the short term, but in the long term, it's not good, right? And I might have to do a research in the 70s to try to figure out, it's so long ago, there was no internet back in the 70s, and trying to find even data or news stuff is tough finding it from the 70s. But, you know, figure out why inflation did this number and spike way high, and we had to have the Volcker moment. And what I'm going to try to find out is, did monetary policy loosen? I got to go back and look and see if the market started running hard and see if there's a correlation in that. But, you know, that's the thing. I'm one of those guys, I don't mind short-term pain for long-term gains, right? I know the more we just drag this whole thing out, you know, it's going to be a huge problem. And so we'll see what happens tomorrow. Again, nothing surprised me. And after the day, that's what I tell people. Never listen to people's predictions, right? And I try not to make them. Never listen to predictions on the markets. I guarantee there was so many people saying, and matter of fact, JP Morgan, which I put in the Discord, actually said they had their clients, they told them, if it comes in X amount or whatever, this is what's going to happen in the market, right? Well, according to their chart right there, let me see if I can, actually I'll show it to you. Let me see here. Here it is right here. Zoom in. This is what they sent out to their folks. Basically, and they're saying if CPI comes in, which this is where it'd be 7.0 to 7.2, which is a 15% chance, we would have 4 to 5% run up today in the S&P. And so they were right. They just didn't see the market selling right back off and closing the gap all the way down. So, and, you know, it's nice to see even the big institutions is probably scratching their head going, wow, okay, that's interesting. And so tomorrow, who knows? And now you know, like if it gaps up in the morning, right, or whenever, don't be surprised if you get a turn back down. And the real worrisome part for the Fed is, the part they can't control is, if we have a real, you know, like I was telling some of the members, we have a real Christmas rally, and I'm talking about rocket up, everything starts heading north, they got a problem on their hands, right? And I don't know if it's the market just setting us up for the big fall, which, again, when you have so many people predicting the fall coming in January and February and that bearish, the problem with that is you got to have people to sell to send you back down, right? But usually the reason why the market does the opposite, because there's nobody else to sell. All the bears done sold, right? And so other people are just holding, right? And so that's where your problem comes. And so it's going to be, you know, Interesting times. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Let me know what you thought about today. I always love to hear your comments and stuff. And so I'll be here tomorrow, and I'll be watching the monitor closely and gathering information to let you know what the heck happens tomorrow as well. All right. So anyway, see you guys later. Hit the like and subscribe button. Don't forget to share the video if you can. I really appreciate it. See you tomorrow, guys.